Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Steven Inks, and in this episode I'm going to talk about an opportunity that I had recently to join a local artisan pop-up at a restaurant downtown in my hometown in California. And I've never done anything like this before, but I had to make a bunch of merch with my artwork on it, and I was doing it all by myself, just using whatever methods that I had available to me. So this could be great or it could be a complete disaster. Either way, I'm going to record as much of it as I can and try to help the whole journey make sense. Let's see how it goes.
So I started with some art. And if you've been around on this channel for a while, you'll probably see some things that you recognize because I just decided to go with my greatest hits, drawings that I liked and thought were good, and then just recreating those. It's really interesting that this process kind of allowed me to use the same pen for all of these drawings, because if you follow my Instagram, which I don't post on very often, and my this YouTube channel right here, you've probably seen all of these before, but they look different because they look the same, because I got this opportunity to use one of my favorite pens, the penbbs 456, to create about 20 or so drawings with my fountain pens, which is, it's ironic that I found that so refreshing because for most artists, you do use the same material all the time. But for me, it ended up being that I, because of the nature of this channel, have to switch my drawing supply almost every single time that I'm making new content. I think that does make it more engaging for you all, but sometimes that lack of consistency is challenging, and it was interesting to just kind of let loose with one of my favorite pens and draw all these drawings. I hope you're enjoying that, and let's also go back and talk about, why am I doing this in the first place? I do think that there's a part of me that's just like, here's a new opportunity, let's do it. But also there's something deeper than that. And it's a little counterintuitive because I have said on this channel many times, and I still do believe that I did not start this channel to make a ton of money or to create a situation where I could quit my day job and no longer do what I do for a living, because I actually really enjoy what I do for a living. But also, I think that having a job helps me draw inspiration to create work. So I'm not looking to supplement my income in any way, but there's this part of me, and maybe some of you out there who are artists can relate to this in some way. There's this part of me that really wants to make a thing that someone can validate with their purchase. And maybe it's an insecurity in myself, but just that it makes this little boy who drew a lot when he was a kid, me, feel like I'm a real artist, quote unquote, if I can just make a little thing and someone sees it and says, yes, I like that, I will put money to that. And there's something very validating about that idea. So that's kind of why I was attracted to doing something like this in the first place. And so, yeah, it is very scary to put myself out there in that way, because usually when I create here, it's not really, there's nobody watching me. But in this case, I'm going to be out in public with my art, and people are going to watch me, and people are going to know that it's my art, and I'm going to see them, and I'm going to look in their face. It's a very almost frightening idea, especially when, if you're someone like me, you don't create very serious art. You make these silly little drawings, and you need to be taken seriously. I need to be taken seriously. It's hard for me to admit that. So that's kind of where I'm at this point in the process.
Okay, shaky camera and bright lights warning. So in this painting here, I'm still seeing kind of not what I'm looking for. I like this a little bit better. The texture doesn't bother me, but some blooms and some hard lines where I don't really want them. And I realize what might be the problem is that since I'm painting flat, which is what I usually do, that the paint isn't allowed to react with gravity and sort of fall into place. So I tilted the side of my desk, as it does do that, and I just never do it because I have my supplies and I need them to lay flat. But this left another problem for me, which is now my paints can't be here, and my water buckets or my water bowls that I use to wash off the paint and to add more water to my paints can't be here either. So we have a chair from my patio, and that is holding my stuff, and now I'm going to do it here. Today's video is sponsored by whatever you got in your house. It's cheap, it's allegedly safe, and we're just going to see what we've got. If you are looking for what's the most expensive cool thing you could buy, this is the wrong channel for you. Otherwise, let's just see how this mess goes. So, good morning. It's a little bit before 6 a.m. and it is a holiday weekend, so I have one extra day to pull this together. The market is on Saturday, and basically I'm in a tough spot because quite a few of the projects that I started have gone in a bad way, a way that I'm not happy with. So I have the work that I can do today, and then to the end of the day to decide if I'm going to go through with this or if I'm going to call up the rep that I talked to and cancel. That sounds awful. That feels awful to say out loud, but I don't want to go in unprepared with nothing or with bad quality stuff, and some things have not been going my way. So on top of all of that, I mean, the fact that I'm thinking about canceling makes me wonder if this video is going to go out, if I am going to make it, or if I'm willing to put out an example of my failure. I hope that it doesn't come to that, but it could go either way at this point. So got a lot of work to do. I am dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome, feeling anxious, nervous, wondering why I agreed to do this, if I can do this, if this is a good lane for me, if people are at all interested in what I'm putting out. I tried explaining this to my wife, but as a sort of a not artistic person, I don't think she really got it. Like, she was asking me, why would you agree to do something that you don't think you can do? And as crushing as that conversation was, it's a really good question. And in a way, it's a little bit like this whole thing is kind of like a reenactment of the artistic and creative process for me, all the way up to the end, not knowing if it's going to be good. Some days you get up, you do the thing you always do, and the results are bad. And some days you get up and you do the thing that you always do and the results are good. And it's impossible, for me at least, to know which one is which and what I actually need to do. The only thing that I can be sure that I need to do is to keep working, keep trying. So wish me luck. Here we go. All right, everybody, it is Rainbow Road. Everything is moving at lightning speed. So I'm running out of time. The event is about 2 weeks away, and I still haven't even started designing the products that the artwork is going to go on. I haven't decided if we're going to be using the hand-painted versions or if I'm going to do some digital coloring or if we're going to go black and white with lines. So I just put every last painting that I have to finish right up here, and I don't know if there's going to be a good angle to show off what I'm doing. Maybe this one right here. I don't know. Maybe this one over here. I got to get my lights in the right position, but we're just going to speed run these last 7 paintings and see
if we can get them done on time. Wish me luck. So I got to admit that it did get a little dark at this point in the process. I have a friend who's an artist who said that she needs the pressure of knowing that she's going to fail in order to overcome the pressure of being afraid of failure. Like that time crunch is how she survives. Is that a thing? If you're out there as an artist, is that a thing? I really hope not, but it seems like that's what got me here. It's wild. Okay, so just looking at what we've got here with these final ones, I am going to call it and just let it be. I think that I've done the best that I can. I'm not super happy with some of the muddy colors on this one. Maybe I can clean it up a little bit. I did go around the outline of this painting and this one up here with white gouache. I did it with another of my paintings as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of an outline. You can see right there. I'm really not happy with the color I chose for this. I went over it several times. It got really muddy. But this is the best I can do today. So I gotta just let it be. And we'll look at this plus what I'd done before and see what I want to use for the finals. So anyway, that's it. On the next step. Okay, so I mentioned setbacks. Let's talk a few of the setbacks that have come my way. The first one involved was printing stickers. Here is a print of some colored stickers that I wanted to have going. And, you know, looking at them, they don't seem so bad. But if I were to compare, I'm going to find the original painting here. For example, we've got the Gentleman Octopus here. If you look at the colors of the original painting, I love how these came out. This is one in particular I just really like the colors and how it turned out. And you look at the printed version and everything's just washed out. The colors are tinted in a different way. They don't go the direction that I wanted them to. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that I don't know how to recolor my work after it's been photographed and put into a digital format. So I ended up with this that's a little, like, it's too contrasty and the colors are muted in a weird way. So I've done some recoloring, but I can't guarantee that this is going to work. One thing that did work, however, that is kind of a backup saving grace, is that I printed the black and white version. So I'm really glad that I copied and scanned in that work partway along. I did several steps and that used up a lot of time. I don't want to say wasted time, because now here I have something that's usable just in case I can't figure out the colors for my printed pages. So that's going to be a lot of work figuring out. I'm printing that stuff right now. I did make buttons, and some of them I did the color and the black and white, and some of them turned out really nice, like this one. The color looks good and the black and white looks good too. Same thing with the cactus. The color looks good, the black and white, they both kind of look good. This one's a little bit off on the printing, but I think I fixed that. This one right here, it's too dark. I didn't like the watercolor version, but then again, lucky me, I had a backup, and I like this. I don't know what I was thinking with this one. I thought maybe a wash of color, but it was too dark, and I've got the black and white as a backup. So backups helped me a lot in this sense. This is my white whale right here. I created this book, and it's gonna be hard to, I'm gonna try and pull it sideways. So what it is the drawings printed on watercolor paper so that you yourself can look through and color all of my artwork the way that you want. And this is my white whale because the paper kept jamming. I looked for reviews. I had this other stuff that I used to use and I can't find it anymore. And so I got this,
which was supposed to be equivalent, but it just kept jamming, and I only got one of these out all the way, which is a real shame because this would have been a really fun product to have. I got little mini versions of it on the back as well. And I had an idea to do another version of this with photo blue lines so that you can ink over it in addition to being able to watercolor over it. And I had covers printed for this and everything, and I think I have to give up on this because the printer or the paper or the combination of the printer and the paper, and maybe someday I'll have a better printer or I'll find a better paper and I'll be able to actually do that, but I think I need to let that one go because we don't have time. So I'm going to be making some plain sketchbooks, and some of them watercolor, some of them using Tomoe River paper, which I've done on this channel before, so I'm confident that I can pull that off in time. I just need to do a lot of folding and stuff. So wish me luck. Like, I've got like 6.5, 7 hours to make this happen. Okay, it's Tuesday morning. I got all kinds of stuff to share with you. First of all, I have made over 120 buttons that look really good. I managed to create these sketchbooks with some of my artwork on them. This is Tomoe River paper, and underneath we have a watercolor paper. I'm going to be stitching those up. I did print over 200 stickers. See if I can find, yeah. So here's an example of the color one. And not perfect, but I do like it way better than what we were doing. I realized I had to go over the top with the colors so that when they print, they wouldn't look as washed out. I did end up printing, inking pages and coloring pages, and I did them as separate sheets instead of that booklet idea, which is still a cool idea. I just need a printer that can handle that paper. So with all of this in mind, I think we're gonna go for it. I did end up buying some extra paper, which is allegedly watercolor paper, but I highly unrecommend this stuff. It's too thin. It doesn't hold the watercolors. It's actually quite nice. If you can see, I use it with pen and ink, and it's got a nice texture. And it's made with bamboo, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think it's supposed to be eco-friendly, but who knows what the effect that really is. I might still use this for some kind of pen and ink only sketchbooks, but clearly this was advertised as watercolor, and I'm a little frustrated that that is what they consider to be good watercolor paper. So we're not going to use that, but we are going to box all this up, and we are going to make the market. It's pretty exciting.
Leading up to the event itself, I actually did end up getting that sketchbook thing to work out, the inking line and watercolor thing, which is really cool because I felt like otherwise I wouldn't have very much to show for my efforts. This was pretty much the day before the event that I finally got all that figured out. So crunch time leading up to the actual thing, didn't feel super prepared for it, but in the end, it happened. So I think that's one of the ways that deadlines can be kind of healthy for artists, because you can just sit down and waste time saying that it's part of the creative process. But when you've got a deadline to finish something, you got to finish it. It's definitely not a pleasant experience for me. Let me know if that's something that you really like as an artist, but sometimes it's really necessary to actually get something done. So here we are with all of this stuff ready, and we are having the very first event. We're having the event tomorrow at this point in the video, and I seem, despite all odds, to be ready. So let's see how it goes.
Okay, so how it went is we had about $60 in sales. There wasn't a lot of traffic through the restaurant. I think that they didn't really promote the event very well. I personally didn't promote it very well because I'm not very good on any of my social media platforms. I think this platform is the one that I spend the most time posting on through my YouTube channel. And most of my viewers and listeners are around the world, or at least other parts of the United States, so I didn't really know how to promote this thing on any other channel. And I didn't want to put a bunch of information that people aren't interested in on purpose onto one of my videos. With a small number of family came out, and that actually did result in some of my sales. So I feel like numbers wise, it wasn't great. I would say that the staff of the restaurant was super nice. I did meet another local artist who tipped me off to some other events that are happening around the city and in the Tri-County area that I might look into. I'd say it was successful, although not financially. It was really fun, and I had a good time. And the restaurant actually invited me back, so even though I didn't really make a lot of money, which may have been a goal of this, I did make a lot of connections, and I got to meet some cool people, so I'm going to go back. And I'm going to add a few more things to my repertoire for the next one. So let's start building that. So I also tried my hand at screen printing, which I didn't record the process of because I thought it was going to be a disaster. I got a screen printing kit for Christmas a couple of years ago for my sister-in-law, and I never used it. So I had to rebuy some chemicals to make it work, but I ended up with this. This is the screen, and the white part is where the paint goes through to print onto paper or fabric. And I did have a few disasters that turned out like this. You do not need to focus. That is the fact that I printed it 2 times on accident, not getting it dark enough. But then I had a couple of perfect, in my opinion, perfect outcomes like this. So I have these book bags that turned out really cool, and screen printing is fun. Yay. Let's do it again sometime. So I had these plastic backings for the button maker that I really didn't want to use because they kind of looked unprofessional to me. Like usually they're made of metal, and that's what my buttons have on the back of them, is metal ones. And so I thought people aren't going to really want these. Why would they want the plastic ones when I got the metal ones? But the cool thing about these are the pin actually comes out really easy. And so then we can have this plastic back with no pin. And what I ended up doing is I made the buttons with the plastic back, no pin, and I ended up putting glue in the back and placing a magnet. So I got these magnets, and I did all the designs for the buttons too. So I have magnets and buttons, and these work great. I've gotten buttons, like I've bought magnets before that didn't hold up their magnetivity, or they actually came out of the backing of the piece, and this one's in there solid. I feel really confident that it'll just be there forever, and it works on whatever these magnets work on. They're really solid little magnets I bought for pretty cheap at the local craft supply store, which is not sponsored, so they aren't going to get my shout out. They can sponsor me and I'll let you know. Anyway, not expensive, available in lots of different places, and that meant that I was able to offer both buttons and magnets. Cool. So I'm really glad that I got another chance to do another event, because I got to make some extra things that I didn't have before. And you know, hindsight is 20/20, so you try something once, it's kind of scary and weird, and you don't know if you're gonna make it on time. But then the second time you do it, you have a better idea of how much time it's gonna take to pull everything off, so you can go deeper, try some new things. And so the second event leading up to it, there were a couple things that I wanted to make 100% certain that I definitely did. One of them was just to try to make my setup look more appealing, and for that I had to make sure that I practiced it. So making all of this stuff and making it done on time, I did get a chance to practice the setup at home. Depending on how much table space I had to make all the stickers and magnets and sketchbooks and things be organized in a way so that people didn't have to guess what everything was. I utilized a pegboard the second time, and you can see me setting that up right here so that I could put things on display, like my screen printed bags, and also my line art and my watercolor
book that maybe you saw that over there. I'm going to show it again in a little bit. And you can see there's a lot of stuff in here. It looks maybe a little bit busy, but also quite full. So I'm really happy with what I was able to pull off for the second event, just to kind of make it friendly and easy for people to look through, see what stuff was, and not have to ask me what something is, because it made it better in the end.
Okay, so the second event is over. Just happened this last weekend, and I've got some final thoughts for everybody. There's quite a few, so I do have some notes written down here. Total, I made about $150, which is less than I spent on supplies, so that's great. I additionally have an entire boxed set of my merch in a corner in my room, so the next time an event comes forward, I can do it. I can jump on board and make it happen without having to do really any setup, so that's fantastic. And like I said before, I made some connections at the first event that I went to, so I will be looking into that, and I might do a few more local pop-ups moving forward. And so here are my thoughts so far about this whole process. Number one, I hate stickers. They are so frustrating to figure out. I tried using a Cricut machine. How do you pronounce that? It has the little ears on the C, so I guess it's Cricut, but that's confusing because how do you know what I'm talking about? Is it the bug or the very expensive machine that I borrowed from somebody? But I did do some research on that, so maybe I just did it wrong, but I kind of felt like I really did my homework to figure out how to use a thing, and it would just cut off every single time. So I ended up wasting way more than I had to use, and then finally I just cut them by hand, which destroyed my wrists. I could get carpal tunnel from that, and also wasn't very exact, so I wasn't super happy with how it came out, and I did throw a few of those out, less than the Cricut. So I hate making stickers. Second thing I learned, I love stickers. Actually, stickers were the things that most people bought. I feel like when it comes to selling artwork, it has to be practical and useful. Everyone knows what a sticker is. That's how it is. So I guess in the future, maybe I'll have to hire a company to print stickers for me. That could be a possibility. Another thing that I learned is that some of my ideas are very hard to explain. So like the coloring book and the inking book, the ideas that I came up with for that, I had to kind of explain them and put them on display, and even then I was telling people what they were, and they were like, oh, I think I understand. I guess that's cool. It's my favorite thing that I came up with, and I don't think anyone got it, although I did sell one to one very happy customer, so maybe I'm overthinking it, which is another thing that I learned, but I already knew that about myself. Another thing I learned is that screen printing is awesome. I had so much fun doing that single screen printing thing. I'm definitely going to do that again. And I figured out how to integrate fountain pens into the process of screen printing. Really cool. I'm going to show you guys that. I'm going to make a video about that for sure. The other thing that I was surprised by is that a lot of children like my art, which is, I guess that's not too surprising. It is sort of cartoony, but I always thought it was a little like sarcastic and depressing, and then people were like, oh, cool, octopus. And I met families that came in with their kids, and they were like, I like the one with the mouse. So I don't know, maybe I should make some art for children. Maybe a children's book someday would be really fun if I ever move on from making sarcastic, sad animals, which is kind of what I do now. The last thing that I learned, and this is really like how I'm going to wrap this whole thing up, is that people are awesome. Like, I got to make connections and talk to people. I found that some of my art really makes people laugh, which made me very happy. I kind of create into a void when I do YouTube. I know you're out there. I appreciate you all, especially those of you that comment and let me know when you appreciate something I'm doing, but it does feel like a very isolated thing. So it was cool to create in public and to talk to people, and I got to make a cool painting while I was there, so it was fun to paint and draw in public at that location and just connect with people. And a bunch of people who bought stuff paid more and didn't ask for change, which is super awesome that they were supporting local artists such as myself, and I'm assuming other artists if they were there. So yeah, there's just a bunch of awesome people in the world, and I'm so glad I got to meet them. So I would say to you, if you yourself are thinking about doing something like this or have an opportunity to with your artwork, just do it. It's gonna be valuable. There's a quote in the world of education that that a lot of teachers like to use, and I'm blanking on the name of the person, so I'll put that up on the screen, who the quote's attributed to. But it's I never lose, I only win or I learn. So there were a lot of failures along the way in this journey, but I do feel like I learned from them, and so it's always a win, and just so much more of a bonus that I had a few little successes along the way. So that wraps it up for this, what I'm assuming will be a very long video. If you made it all this way, thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content about art and art supplies, and all the ramblings of an artist trying to make a name for himself in the world, I guess. And I'll see you in the next video.